All right, guys, let's talk about some of the pineal gland issues that some of you guys have. SHD, I don't know your name. Please let me know your name when you SD when you reply back. Okay. I'll skip the intro. Okay. Question number one. During the meditation, Dr. Joe says, be inside of the room of the pineal gland. What does that mean? I don't understand the purpose of being inside the gland. Is it some kind of a convergent, divergent attention, or is it different than that? No. So I hope you guys can look at some of the electron microscope views of what the pineal gland looks like. So imagine it is an egg-shaped, tiny little thing. In fact, if you look at it, if you take the brain, right, brain is sitting about this level, right? And this is the level that pineal gland is sitting in, right at the level of your ear, both ears, and then right between your eyes. So when you take the brain, it is just at the bottom of it, right? So the spinal fluid goes up, and it's right at the top of it, at the end of it. There's some ventricles, and right at the end of it, there's this pineal gland sitting there. And if you look at it upside down, it actually looks like a female body part. You know, there's right at the top, it almost looks like a clitoris, and then there's a split, and the pressure of the spinal fluid goes in, and it exerts force and pressure at the end of the pineal, where the pineal gland is sitting. And what it does is it puts pressure on the crystals inside. There are crystals in the pineal gland. So imagine pineal gland is an egg, and then split it in half, right? So the top half has crystals standing in it. So if you were to stand at the second floor of the pineal gland, and now you're standing among, there's all these crystals around you, right? And there's this space around you. You're in this room with crystals, right? You can imagine it. And now what do? You raise your energy. So just in awareness, you're in it. You don't have to picture your body and you're standing on something and you're standing on top of crystals. No, you can, however you imagine it. What is the point? What is the point of this? The point is to show you different ways on how you can raise the energy of that energy center, the gland. So if some people are able to just focus on the gland itself, and the gland begins to, give you some kind of an evidence that, okay, attention is on it, where your attention goes, energy flows, and that's enough for you because that works for you. Other people have tried this method, and it has worked wonderfully for them to first pay attention to number 6. And if you pay attention to number 6 long enough, and you begin to feel the area around the gland in the middle of your head, and then if you know what the gland looks like, you can picture as an awareness you inside that gland, and then you raise your energy. And when you raise your energy, now as a consequence, the energy of the gland will go up. The energy of the gland will rise. These are just multiple different ways on how to achieve the same outcome, which is to be able to raise its energy, raise its frequency, so it can charge those crystals. And when it charges those crystals, it's like a radio transmitter. It's sending out signals, it's receiving signals. Beep, 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 and it's just it'll pop you. You'll just have such an awakening. You'll just have such a beautiful time. So that's one way to look at it. That's for your question number 1. Why be inside the gland? You don't have to be. That's just one of the ways that you can help activate that gland for yourself. So it can release the hormones, and those hormones will change. You will have some DMTs. It'll change into all kinds of things. Melatonin can change into so many other chemicals. Number 2, watched your YouTube video about tapping into the potentials within us and not from outside, but to tap into, say, the activation of the gland. Anything else? I'm supposed to visualize something, or do I have to be aware of the gland? Like this one. Ah, how do we tap into the potentials that are within us? You're not tapping into the potentials within you. There are potentials of you doing all kinds of stuff in the quantum. When you, okay, I get it. When you are tapping into a potential, you're actually trying to teach your body what it is like to be that version of you. What do you want that version of you to have? Healing? Imagine you being healed. What would you do different than you do now that you're healed? What are some of the activities you'll do? What are some of the decisions you'll make? What are some of the experience you might have? How would you behave around your loved ones and friends and coworkers? How would you meditate? How would you stand? How confident and proud would you be if you heal yourself? And how convinced and normal would it be for you to know that you healed yourself and you are a creator, you are divine? How would you then sit into meditation and surrender for another mystical experience? How would you do all of that? How? And then you would imagine it. You would feel it. You would become it in your thought and with elevated emotion. Of course, it would be an elevated emotion because those are beautiful emotions. You would feel more in awe of life. You would be in love with life, right? You would be worthy. You would know you're worthy. You would feel empowered. You will not feel victimized. You would be fearless. You would be relaxed within you. So you start to feel that, and your body will begin to train, will get trained over time. And when that happens, all of your energy centers are now changing. Because every time you meditate, autonomic nervous system is getting new information. And it's getting those new information to all the energy centers. All the energy centers are giving new signals, different signals to all the cells. And because you're losing trillions of cells and making new trillions of cells, you are continuously becoming a different version of you anyways. I'm asking you to be intentional about what that new version of you will be like. So when all of those cells are getting new information, those cells are changing. DNA might have extra telomeres that it'll grow with, upregulation and downregulation of certain genes, different proteins. You're genetically, biologically, chemically, electromagnetically changing in every way possible in a small enough way that every time you get out of a meditation, you are literally the new version of you. It just seems to be so similar to the old version of you that you don't really see it. But you start to feel it when you get those shocks of energy, of love, when you start crying all of a sudden, when you feel the release of something that's happening, or when you throw up, or when you anything that is different happening to you, is because you're the different version of you now. The past you is continuously going from particle to wave, and the new version of you is continually going from a wave to particle. So when your meditations say, come back to the new body, it's not a joke. It's not to make you feel better. It's literally true. And the better you get at it, the more dramatic the change is going to be, the more giant leaps you would take forward to becoming the version of you. And when you get to the outside of space and time, instantly, it happens so fast. Can't wait for your mystical experience, SD. Since the past couple of days, I've been feeling constant chills all around my body. Sometimes it's from perineum to my head, sometimes the other way around. Other times it just hits me like a gust of wind would hit you from random places on my body. I've considered that I might just be cold, but it only happens during meditation. Yes, that is very normal. Happens to me almost every meditation. A lot. Happens to me all the time. Where I'm sitting there and I'll turn off the air or the AC or whatever. And now it's completely silent and I'm just going to have a good time. I'm going to meditate. And all of a sudden I'm feeling this breeze, cold breeze. Sometimes I'll sweat and I'm cold and I'm not sure what is happening. Sometimes I'm just cold and these very heavy, strong vibrations all over me. And then, of course, I'll go so deep that I'll forget where I am. And then many things will happen, right? Sometimes you have an outer body experience. And experiences for everybody is a little bit different because we are just a little bit different, right? Somebody asked me, so you're telling me that deep down we're all the same? Well, depending on what you mean by the same. We are all consciousness. We are all pure love and pure consciousness. Yes, that is who we essentially are. But then when we look at the hologram version of us, the 0.001% of us that you can see, that along with your ego, with your analytical mind, separates you from other egos and other people's analytical skills and mind. That creates new differences in our personalities. And that is why those personalities reflect a different personal reality. But when we drop the hologram, when we drop the VR, when we drop the identities of who we think we are, and we just let go, and we step away from us, when we get out of the way, and we see the real us outside of space and time by being pure consciousness, then we are all the same. So I guess I answered that question too with one of the comments. I hope it made sense. Let me know if there are further comments and questions. I'll address them. Time to get ready for our meditation, guys. Pineal Gland this morning. Looking forward to it. Love you.